What's up and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm interviewing Anastasiya Flynn, who's the Sitecore JSS software evangelist. Ooh, that's a mouthful. So she evangelizes the JSS product of Sitecore. Sitecore is actually a very big CMS that's highly flexible and scales like crazy. So the JSS part is actually a piece of software that makes Sitecore work in a headless way. So we can now build a Vue.js application that's standalone or a React or Angular app that then connects to Sitecore in a very elegant way. Sitecore still maintains its content editing possibilities and experiences, but we can also still now create a super cool front-end app. So this is a complex piece of software that needs to be known and needs to be explained to the community. So this is what Anastasiya does, and she does it well. So in the interview, we dive deep into what she does and how she landed that job and how she feels about working in our community. Okay, let's get to it.
I think the hardest thing about my job is the public speaking. And because I mean, so many people are terrified of public speaking, right? And they tell me like, I don't understand how you can do it, how you can get up there in front of all of these people and just do your thing. And the first time I did it before I became an evangelist, I was nearly having a panic attack. But then after you keep doing it and you realize like it's not a big deal. It's just like having you're just talking like right now, like we're
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about. I'm just telling you about my project, about something I built, about something I've worked on. And
Yeah, I've learned doing this quite often that actually, when you just know your subject really well and you research that part in that scope, you can speak really well. Nobody is going to
yeah,
refute you when you're on that stage. It's your
and you have
space at that moment, right?
and you have to be honest. If you don't
Oh,
know,
clearly. Yeah.
yeah, if you're speaking about something that you just know high level, then speak high level. And people ask you questions, then you just say you don't know. Like, yeah, honesty is so important in my job, because de- developers are so smart and they know when you're just giving them marketing fluff or sugarcoating something. So you
Yeah.
just have to be completely honest. And yeah.
So now that we're on that topic, actually, I want to know more about it because you kind of moved from like an agency and then you went into like this corporate product company. What was the difference for you?
Oh, well, when I was working in an agency, I was a senior dev for a while, and then I was usually leading teams. And they never put the seniors together on the same teams. So the people I knew for a long time, we were broken up across teams. So I think the hardest thing about working in teams in agencies is that your team is always changing,
Yeah.
because they have the senior people there, and then they try to bring in the new guys, the contractors under you, so you can mentor them. um, so the team is always changing. It's hard to build these long-term bonds. And as soon as you become friends, or you just simply like learn somebody's code style, you start meshing with somebody, you stop taking offense to the code review comments, and you learn each other's personalities. Like as
Mm.
soon as that happens, like there's some rotation. The project shifts and it's all new people. And coming into Sitecore, I I didn't know what to expect, because it's such a big company, and I thought there would be so many people, I would feel so alone.
Yeah.
But it's been the opposite. We have this small team of evangelists, and it really feels like a family. I mean, we're so close, and we're all over the world. I'm the only one in the US, but I mean, we talk online all the time. We have meetings, and we see each other at events. And whenever we go to events, our boss Peter, he always makes sure that we have like team building stuff that's outside of
Mm.
work, that's just having fun. And So I really liked the stable team and really, building a bond.
Yeah, I can kind of get that, like a true investment, right? But that also means you kind of have to really agree with the product and the course they are taking, in this case with front end stuff. So, do you? Well, I guess you do. But do you see anything that you might do differently or something like that?
Uh, you know, that's a great question. I well, not last year, I guess in 2018, I was considering leaving Sitecore, just the Sitecore world, because I really wanted more JavaScript in my life. I
Mm,
wanted to go work for somewhere where I could, be more involved in front end. And this was right before JSS went public. And then I saw this job come up, and I applied for it. And I got it. And like this kind of, you know, relit my passion
yeah.
for Sitecore and kept me in this. And yes, I totally think JSS, that the headless Jamstack, I mean, that is the future. That's what scales, that's what has the best performance, that's what gives you the most flexibility for how you build your front end. It's, gives you those cool modern websites. I totally believe in the product that I evangelize.
You're actually evangelizing now. I like it. So, what makes you actually a good evangelist? What do you think got you this job, for example?
um, like I said, honesty is very important, and I think I'm very honest with the developers. I listen to their feedback. In the beginning, we had um, some messaging out there about JSS that we thought the workflows, and like we thought it would be one way, and then I went and I got myself involved in client projects where clients were unhappy, and I wanted to know, like, why are you unhappy, what challenges are you having, and I took all that feedback back to marketing and made sure that our decks were updated, our messaging was updated, so I'm not trying to just be a talking head for the company. I'm trying to actually be an advocate for our community. So, and I really care that the community is being successful with JSS, so I want to do everything I can for them. So
I'm one of those because I actually work with JSS and also on pretty big scale. And so I think we've been quite successful with a couple of projects, and now we are going in another one where it's a bit more challenging. But actually, it's not JSS or the frameworks you chose that make it challenging. What we noticed is actually, if you want to do, well, this is some terminology for Sitecore, so we have to maybe, I'll explain that later in the intro, but like we can go completely code first from the front end. And in this case, it was a React project. And then what we noticed that it was a little bit challenging to get it into the connected mode into Sitecore. And we've heard a bit about this, but it's actually fine. We'll figure it out. We fix it. But how do you, let's say, put JSS there in such a way that people who don't really know Sitecore can actually be super successful on their own with it? Do you have some sort of idea about how to do that? Or is it just, maybe it takes time? Maybe you need to figure out what's happening here.
we are right now, there's I don't think it's possible for somebody who doesn't know Sitecore at all to just go in their code first and build and architect a solution that's long term maintainable and that's going to work for complex multi-site projects.
Yeah, it's still Sitecore, right? So you need to know what you're dealing with.
I think I think it's possible for embedded apps,
Mm,
which is where you have a JSS app that's just encapsulated on one page, it's maybe some kind of interest calculator, or like some kind of, so like that's really just a React project or a Vue project. In that case, it's so encapsulated, and it doesn't have, um, it doesn't need to worry about the business logic
Mm,
of multi-site and all the other templates. In
yeah,
in that
exactly.
case, I
Yeah.
think it can work. But otherwise, I think the front end devs who are coming in need to have, they don't need to go in and learn, back end stuff about
Mm,
Sitecore, but they need to go and poke around and see the experience editor, see,
exactly.
because because you're building for two interfaces. You're building for the front end and you're building for the authoring experience. So they should go in and poke around, see what the authoring experience is like, and just learn some of these Sitecore concepts. And right now, we know that, and we're redoing our JSS fundamentals course and adding that, Sitecore concepts stuff um, into it, to, like as an introductory section for front end devs.
Oh, that's awesome because I come from some psycho background, so I know all these things. So I assume them and it's fine. But then when you hire some people and they don't, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
Sitecore. But anyways, this interview is not really about Sitecore. I want to know more about you because you're doing so well in the community. And I just went over your Twitter feed, and you have so many pictures where you're with people and Sitecore stuff, but also non-Sitecore stuff, and your React courses things. I think that's great. So,
I've been really lucky to meet some awesome people in the conferences I've been to.
mm,
And I mean, I know you're in the Vue world, and I think you've had the same experiences because I've seen your photos with the Vue folks.
yeah, it's quite
But
similar, I guess.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you see these people on Twitter, and they just seem like they're, such celebrities, and you think that when you meet them, they will just be so standoffish and like so
Mm.
sick of being talked to. But when you meet them, they're just so nice, and they're so willing to talk to you and get to know you. Um, yeah,
Well, this is one part I really like because in the end, they're also just a bunch of people that trying to do cool stuff, right?
exactly. And they're doing this because they care about us. They care, yeah.
Exactly.
So it's the same feeling.
But there's still a valid question here because when I look at your Twitter feed, let's say, it looks like everything you touch is amazing. It all works. It looks good. It might be curated a bit, of course, but the question is like people who are successful, there's also some mistakes and failures inside this to make you so good at what you are. So, do you have an example of something that you've had in your career or at home or something like that that actually made you better? That at the time felt bad or like a mistake or something like that?
Wow,
That's not an easy
that's
question.
that's a, um, well, I mean, of course, there's daily things that, it's not just all me. We Everything that my team puts out, we have our somebody else from the team look over it. So any kind of content that we produce, it's a team effort.
Sure.
Um, so we catch each other's small mistakes. And if there's something wrong, like the videos I put out, those aren't my raw videos.
No, exactly.
They go through post production and
Mm.
Camtasia, and I take out some ums, and I so
I
and
won't be doing that in this one, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
um I say so much. I hate hearing myself do conference presentations. I can't listen to them. Okay.
Oh, you just
I
did one. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's go. We go to the next. No, so actually, we just talked about it when we
I
started.
do want to share,
So,
right, what
sure,
one like real deep thing that I don't usually talk about, but I hope this inspires other people. I dropped out of the first college I went to, and it's because, well, I was really, really perfect student in high school. I got straight A's. It was really easy for me. I was a smart kid. And so I got this full scholarship to a prestigious engineering school. And so when I got there, it was just everybody was smart and it was really difficult for me. And I was going to school during the week and working on the weekends. And it was really overwhelming. And I ended up, it was too much. Like I gave up, right? I ended up dropping out and well, I got serious in my relationship and I had a child as a teen. So I was a teen mom.
Mm.
So some people don't know I have a 13-year-old. So my life took this whole different turn. And at the time, I mean, I thought, wow, I just really ruined my life. Like, because I don't have a college degree. How am I going to support my family? I was a single mom for 10 years. Well, and I just, I guess my message to anybody else who might be in a similar situation, or maybe they didn't finish school or they're thinking of going back, is that like it's always possible. I ended up going back to college a few years later, and it wasn't for engineering; it was for computer science. Um, and my 20s were really difficult because I was a single mom. But now I'm in my early 30s, and my son is a teen. He's all independent, so my career is just thriving. So it turned out to be really great.
Look at that. And I think this is super important that you actually managed to turn that around by using technology, right? It's kind of like still that. I think it's super cool that there's these opportunities. Of course, you have to make them work. You did that all on your own. I
Yeah,
think that's very commendable.
I think computer science is such a great field for moms, for single moms, because well, for any moms, for any parent, be- be- because it lets you have flexible hours and
Mhm.
you can work from home. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also I think maybe in the US there's a little bit more focus on having a diploma. Because for example, for me, I'm in Europe, and you might not believe it, but I studied to be a nurse,
Yeah.
and then I dropped out, and then I tried to build a website, and now I'm here, right? So this technology track helps people on both sides, right? So
How did you switch? What made you go back to
for me, I'm a creative person at heart. Everything I do is creative stuff. And at the moment where I studied for that and I actually worked as a nurse in psychiatry, the system of healthcare changed in the Netherlands. So it became a little bit more like the American way, where everything was paid for in a different way. So it's more privatized. And a lot of
Mhm.
people started complaining, and we tried to do solutions creatively where you work, but it was just complaining, complaining. And I started to do that. And then I was like, oh, this is not good. But
Yeah.
I paid for my university by making websites. Not good ones, I was young. But I thought, why not push that a little bit more? So actually, it was relatively easy because at that time, I think we're quite the same age. At that time, there was so much work. It was relatively easy to jump in and just try,
Yeah.
right? So it's
And
a
there is an art to it. Like yeah, I'm creative too. I paint, and I'm really drawn to building like really nice UIs, and it's like an art project.
it certainly is, and it needs iteration to get better. Like I never do it once and it's just good. You always have to get back at it, and this is yeah, it's a nice process, right? So did you paint the walls in this room yourself?
Yes.
Because this is my little bridge because I want to know about that room because it looks so
Yes.
much fun.
Turquoise is one of my favorite colors. Here I can, and then there's,
Oh
I'm not scared
yeah.
of color. I love color. And then my nook I have a secret nook that's pink.
Awesome.
I can show you. Hold on, let me unplug. So this house, we just moved here.
Okay.
And it used to be owned by an artist. And so she redid the garage into her art studio.
Okay.
And so this is above like above that, and so it used to be the attic, so there's like all these nooks everywhere. So if you go here,
Whoa. This is amazing.
so I painted this pink, and this is where I sometimes lay with my cats and work from here.
I just wanted to ask, where's the cat?
Yes,
that
they're, I don't know where they are. They usually come in by now. I have a little cat door for them.
Oh, that's so very cute.
Yeah, Claire's usually asleep in here, but
Yeah. So how many cats do you have?
5.
Okay, I have 3. It's all good.
Love cats. Everybody should own a pet. Cat or dog, it doesn't matter. The love of an animal, it's like nothing else.
I never had animals, and then my wife came into my life, and suddenly, even if I said no, we still got another one, and it's all good now. I love it. So
Well, that was your mistake, saying no, because you could have had that love earlier.
exactly, but I had to learn, and now it's
Yeah.
all good. And now I have a
Yeah.
dog and 3 cats in an apartment in Paris, but it works. We make it work.
Yeah.
Is there something you are good at that nobody really knows about? Like, of course, we already know you're a mom and you have cats and you paint, and so you gave it away a little bit.
I used to take ballroom dancing in Ukraine, so I'm a pretty good dancer.
Oh, awesome. Where from Ukraine are you?
From Kiev.
Okay, I've been many times for work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place. Okay, so that was a very quick answer. Awesome. So there's another one I always kind of ask because at your job, you're doing it really well. It's clear. Otherwise, I wouldn't have reached out. There was a way we connected. But you're in like a world full of men. So is there any sort of bias towards you as a woman working and being so good at it?
In this current job, if there is, I'm not seeing it to my face.
Okay.
I think it's actually people want to put female speakers out there, so I think it helps me. As a developer, I saw some bias, but as an evangelist, I think that this field is more diverse.
Mm. What I've noticed, of what I've heard from other women that are speakers, in the beginning it was quite challenging for them to see, okay, how do I start speaking? And then suddenly this diversity thing happened, and they were just pushed forward, or they were asked because they were a woman. And sometimes it would be like, that's super annoying because I'm good about, it's me, I'm great. It doesn't matter if I'm a woman. But then they started to use it to their advantage and actually get amazing speaking gigs and then be so good at it that it became normal that they would speak everywhere. Did you have a similar experience?
Uh, no. And anytime that I was asked to be involved in like some kind of panel on, women of Sitecore or something like that, I don't, I never do that because I never want to be up there speaking about being a woman in tech. I only want to be on stage talking about tech. So that's kind of how I make sure that I'm sending the right message and representing women devs in the right way. I think um, I think just that first time that I did a talk at Symposium, it was a really original talk, and it got such great feedback. And I was just really, I, I mean, I worked really hard on that presentation. I worked very, many hours, but I was just I was just lucky that it was the right time because that symposium was very focused on women of Sitecore.
Yeah, okay.
So like very, very focused on elevating women and celebrating women. So there were a lot of women at that conference. I was told a lot more than there were in the past. It was my first symposium, so I didn't know. So I think I'm coming into it at the right time. I went to a diversity tech conference in Atlanta, which was all focused about bringing in all the different, minority, well, underrepresented groups in
Mm.
tech. And I mean, there's their talks were incredible. So I mean, yeah, it's so great that there's groups pushing to get these people out there.
Yeah, it's a sensitive, complicated subject, but in the end, I would say content always wins.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I would tell organizers to have less panels about, being a woman,
Mm,
being whatever underrepresented group. Like, don't put women on stage and put them in a position to just complain about how hard it is. Don't like. I think that takes away from what we're trying to do.
mm.
Um,
Thanks for that. It's very interesting. So, with that in mind, maybe not exactly with that in mind, but imagine if you had a billboard and you could put that somewhere, let's say on some highway that millions of people would see it, and it's like a huge billboard. So everybody would see it. What would you write on that?
it wouldn't be words. I know exactly what I would put. And when you post produce this, put in that last picture I tweeted of my lab.
Ah, I
I
know which
would
picture
just
this
have that
is.
picture
Yes.
because I think people would just see it and it would make them happy.
Oh, yeah, it made me certainly happy. That's an amazing picture.
And that's what you need when you're sitting in traffic, seeing a billboard.
Yes, exactly. I really want to thank you for this. And I know sometimes in an interview like this, it's hard to open up a bit, but there's so much pure gold coming out that people can really use as experiences and use it to further their lives. So I want to thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for having
yeah,
me.
it's super great. And I think we should be working together a lot more because Sitecore and JSS it's really the future of Sitecore and how it will all work together. It might not be there 100%, but it's clear. Like every project we do now goes that way. So I hope we get to spend a bit more time together to actually work on this kind of stuff.
Yes, JSS is the future. Spread the word.
Yes.
We're
Okay,
gonna
that's
have
awesome.
stickers at StuckCon.